The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by us are ours and do not reflect those of anyone connected to us. While we'll sometimes dive deep into conversations about sex, any mention of sexual acts, positions, preferences, and the like is for context or entertainment purposes only. And yes, things can get a little steamy. So if you're easily triggered, have unresolved trauma, or don't enjoy adult conversations, you've been warned. Listener discretion is advised. Do try this at home. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to yet another episode of the BLC Pod, the off-season conversation edition. I guess we're going to call that right now. Unfortunately, we don't have our girl S&M in the building, but fortunately, though, I got the fellas, so maybe this is like the fellas-only edition of the BLC Pod, off-season conversations edition. Speaking of the fellas, I got my fellas with me. Jay, what's happening, man? What's good?
Yo, it's the FOE, fellas-only edition. You know what I mean? We don't hate them, you know what I'm saying? We just be ops and foes sometimes. I'm just playing. A little toxic. I'm glad to be here, man. Life is lifing, and I'm glad to be along for the ride. Great things happening under the Goodwoods banner. You know what I mean? You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on everywhere you be at. You know what I mean? Like Instagram, TikTok. We all there. Find us on Etsy if you want to. You know what I'm talking about? And just we there for you. Just holler at us. You know what I mean? It's all good. Goodwoods. And just excited to talk, man. Missing the peoples, though. I miss our peoples, man. It hurts me.
Yeah.
Like, I like, yeah, it's like an echo in my heart. You know what I mean? It's like,
That's a fact.
yeah.
That's a fact.
But we're going to hold it down instead. You know what I mean? We're going to be able to have some guy talk. You know what I mean? Be able to really dig in deep. Really not have to be, you know, as courteous as we are when the ladies are around. We can't keep it a buck. So now, I'm looking forward to the conversation. We're going to have a good time.
Absolutely. Plus, we got our guy Del in the building. Delvin, the expert. What's happening, man?
What's going on, Nick? What's going on, Mr. Goodwood? You know, just back. You know, we'll light a little bit this episode, but we'll hold it down and we'll do the best we can with just us fellas. So I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to just having a little guy time. You know, kind of virtual guys trip. So. I think it's going to be exciting. We're going to do some good things here, and be slightly inappropriate now that it's just the boys. So we'll see what goes.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, special shout out to S&M. You know what I'm saying? Enjoying a little personal time. We'll see her probably next week, man. You know what I'm saying? You already know. Excited to get into the conversation with y'all fellas, man. Before I forget, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. We appreciate y'all for tapping in. You know what I'm saying? The comment sections, you know what I mean? And we got the BLC store, man. You thought I was going to forget? The BLC store. Get you some merch at the blcstore.com, And, even though I enjoy, fellas only, you know what I mean? But I just got to say it's not the same with estrogen not in the building. So we're going to power through, you know what I'm saying? I like a little estrogen with my toxic. You dig what I'm saying? So, we miss y'all, all the estrogen out there. You are appreciated. But let's. I feel, speaking of a situation that probably needs a little bit more estrogen, right? I think by now we've all heard about this whole 50 Cent versus Big Meech situation, right? Like long story, less long. 50, did the whole BMF thing with his Stars platform or whatnot, gave a look out to Lil Meech, you know what I mean? Kind of told the early Big Meech story. Big Meech comes home, you feel me? And then all of a sudden, Big Meech decides he wants to take a picture with Rick Ross. 50's not feeling that. And then if y'all know 50, if y'all know how he gets down, it's been all hell broke loose since the party they were supposed to do. I think it was Rick Ross and Big Meech didn't happen, or it was canceled. And he's relentless, man, to the point that, like, I think Joe Budden mentioned it on his podcast and kind of jokingly, maybe not so jokingly, was talking about his anger issues. And he was like, yo, man, Joe, mind your business. And he started shooting at Joe. Like, 50 don't play, right?
Nah,
but the thing that he said, though, and by he, I mean Joe. The thing that Joe said that really kind of resonated with me, though, was the idea that does 50 have a problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you look at his behavior and how old he is, and maybe not 50 specifically, but 50 specifically, right? In terms of his behavior and say, hey, this is how grown men should be moving. Like, is it possible that you can look at that situation and say, bro, you've been beefing for 20 some odd years with certain niggas? Even when Irv Gotti passed away, he had posted something that was kind of, a little petty, right? In regards to smoking on the herb pack or something he had said, right? And, he's had his beef with them guys for a long time. So, I mean, is it healthy behavior for us Black men to be holding on, right, to such animosity? Is it healthy to be this petty, right? Was Joe Budden right in regards to 50 needing some help? As Black men, how would we counsel 50 or people like him if we was in his circle?
I would tell 50 to get himself some coochie. That's what I would say. 50 is currently, as far as I know, he's on like the celibate kick. He's been on it for like years. And you know what I'm saying? That energy got to go somewhere. And now it's going out into the internet. And you know what I mean? It's going out as toxic. And 50 is petty. I mean, I think he's figured out the character he's going to be. And that's who he is. If we really go back to like his first thing with Ja Rule, he was petty. He made fun of Ja Rule for singing on tracks, and then he sang on his entire first album. Well, not his first album, but Get Rich or Die Trying, he was singing, doing the whole Ja Rule's thing, but not Ja Rule's out. It's crazy. It's petty. So, but now I think also there are always different sides to the same story, right? So when I first looked at it, I was like, dang, 50, like you really cutting up. You canceling shows over here. You like, you know what I'm saying? You cutting people off or whatever. It's like you changing people's whole lives and trajectories because of this photo. Like, dang, over a photo? That's what I thought, right? But then I started kind of looking around some other stuff, and I was like, listening to some interviews that other people gave, like Lil Meech or whatever. And I was listening to people talk about how Big Meech came home looking for the bag because he had done all his executive producing and he'd done all his contributing or whatever. He'd been giving his story to the BMF thing, so he was looking for a bag. BMF been big, and so when he get back and he looked at where Lil Meech is or whatever, I don't think he saw the bag he thought he would have when he got home. I think when the bag wasn't mathing the way he thought it should be, I think he went over and hollered at Rick Ross. I think 50 was like, yo, that's so, disloyal of you or whatever, not knowing that maybe a Lil Meech was out here balling the whole time, and maybe that's where the money went. I ain't saying the man was malfeasance or nothing. I'm just entertainment purposes. I'm just saying it's another side of the story possibly, and that side could be the man came home and his money wasn't there. You know what I mean? And he looking around, and so 50 probably be like, yo, I'm gonna cut Lil Meech off because he's the reason the money, and so maybe it's why the show got canceled. It all makes sense if that's what happened, but I don't know what happened.
Well, listen, let me ask you this before I pass it to you, Devon. I got one statement. One, I think the beef with Ja Rule and them was a little bit more than just, it wasn't a petty thing. Like there was like blows and fisticuffs that might have been resonant, a deeper issue there. So I don't think it was that light. Sure. Now with Rick Ross and them, I think that was a little bit more of a rap beef, but there were things that happened that kind of went a little bit beyond, but they both were kind of petty enough to go there. But it wasn't like a nigga's life was in jeopardy at that point in time, right? But it sounds like to me, though, that you're kind of with the last piece in regards to the disloyalty from Big Meech. Are you saying that 50 is justified, right? Because if he's justified to feel his way, then why would we say he might need some help, right? If he's justified to say, hey, man, you've been disloyal to me, and so I'm responding, and you can't control how I'm going to respond, right? Or no?
I thought disloyalty over a photo was petty. You know what I mean? Take a photo with who you're going to take a photo with. It's a big world. People are always in pictures. I mean, just so what? He's next to Rick Ross. I mean, your beef, just because I got beef with somebody you took a picture with, I mean, I got beef with you.
It was more than a picture, though.
Whatever.
I mean, but doing business with him. They were promoting a car show.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like, hey, we were just at the spot, we taking the picture. It's like, nah, we ought to flyer together, right?
Yeah, but you should be able to get money wherever you get money. Like the world isn't drawn so far, thank God, the world is not drawn against ideological lines when we're talking about money. Not yet. Right? So he should be able to go make his bread wherever he can make his bread. I thought the issue was that he seemed to be like partnering up, but in the context of just making money, no, there's no reason why. Just because he's making money with 50, that means he can't go make money with a dude that 50 don't like. Money is money. Business is business.
Hold on. So you're saying that 50 does not have a right to say, oh, if you're going to make money over there, I ain't going to make money with you no more.
Right. He don't.
So I'm saying so we're not saying that, yes, Big Meech can go out there and make his money true. What we're talking about is 50's response to whatever he perceives as disloyalty. And in addition to saying, hey, I'm not doing no bidding with y'all no more. But then on top of that, I'm going to lambast you on social media. So what we're talking about is whether or not you think his actions was proportionate or fair or equitable or whatever the word is.
I think he tripped. I think he was tripping. I think that the man was doing business. I think that you should be able to do business where you're going to do business. You know what I mean? Like they're not, the two camps aren't at war, and even arms dealers sell to both sides. So man, let the man make his money. I don't see the conflict. I think 50 tripping. I think you don't own Big Meech. Let Big Meech go out and make his money where he make his money.
Okay, go ahead, Devon.
I mean, it's kind of like in like, to your point, like in politics, you know, a lot of these big donors, they'll donate to both sides. You know,
They will.
yeah. I mean, if it's just over the photo, I mean, like you said, Nick, it's probably something deeper than that. It's got to be, because if it's just the photo, the response is way out of proportion to, you know, to just that. Like I said, if it's a business thing, I don't know if they have like a no compete clause or you can't do business with anybody else. I think that's a little weird, but you know, okay. But if it's just, you know, we're over here doing a show, making movies or doing this, and then you go do a car show with somebody, I don't like, who cares? You know, you should have bigger fish to fry, you know, in my opinion. That's what I think. You know, if it's something personal, I still think at the age we're getting into grandpa territory. It's getting late. I should be able to call you up and say, "Hey, man, look, you know, I don't like XYZ, blah blah blah. Let's hash out. Let's talk about it. If I got an issue with Mr. Goodwoods, I'm not gonna get on Twitter and inflame him. I'm gonna call him up and say, hey, man, look, I feel some kind of way about this. I think we should be able to do that as men and black men, and not, you know, roast each other on Twitter like you know, like the estrogen levels are too high. That's how I think about it.
Estrogen levels.
So I feel like, come on, man. I feel like, okay, so we're saying that this is over a picture, and I'm trying to imagine that it's not just over a picture, right? So again, with the whole Ja Rule and Irv thing, rest in peace, Irv Gotti, there might have been some more real things there. Like these guys might have been standing allegedly to people that almost tried to kill me, right? So if I am in the position where I am looking out for you, I'm looking out for your family, I'm putting money in your pockets. I mean, you've been in jail for what, 25 years or whatever. Nobody else was doing that necessarily. I don't give a fuck how much these niggas were shouting you out in your rap songs. I'm putting your son on or whatever. So now, and we all know who 50 is. So if Big Meech comes out of prison, yeah, he can go out there and get money with who he wants to get money with. But are we really saying that, like, that's out of bounds to where, hey, you might need to get some help, 50, because the way you're responding is so out of bounds? Because I don't think it is, right? I don't by no means. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, 50 is a master manipulator when it comes to social media. So he does what he does, keeps himself relevant, and he also keeps his projects relevant for the most part. So he has a business interest in manipulating the social media and engaging the way that he is. That's number one. So whether or not he really feels that way, cool, let's assume that that is the case, right, for this conversation, right? Because I was trying to figure out, like, what is appropriate for grown men in terms of how they behave in conflict, right? And so if if I'm looking out for you, if I'm holding you down, I don't know, like to Jay's point, what your son did with the money. Okay, I get it that maybe, you know, you're trying to get some more money. Did you come to me first? Did we talk about anything? Did you know I had a beef with the nigga? And if you did you just kind of feel like you could move around because you used to be a kingpin drug dealing nigga back in the day? Like, I'm the one that's sitting here taking care of you. So, or holding you down, or we have a mutual situation. So I think it is proportionate for, hey, I'm not fucking with you no more. Because y'all was saying, like, nah, that's kind of crazy for him not to. Nah, I have every right to decide that, hey, the way that you're moving is not giving me confidence that you got any sense about you, right? Because to me, it wouldn't make sense that if you're looking at me to give you money for another season or whatever, that you would think it made sense to go over here. Because we're now also talking about his pride too, right? Sometimes guys have pride. So yeah, I'm not finna go back to this nigga asking for a hand-me-out. So maybe I got another nigga over here coming to me for a situation. But as grown men, isn't it part of our responsibility to, like, look at situations and then make some choices and then have to stand on those choices, right? In other words, if, like, Big Meech as a grown-ass man knew that, hey, by making this decision, it might mess his relationship up with the motherfucker who's putting money in his pockets, what responsibility does he have in terms of how he should move forward, right?
In terms of protecting his own bag. Okay.
I mean, like, right? Now listen, I'm not for the public, you know, but I get that's how 50 rocks out. You dig what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
The thing that was problematic for me wasn't even so much the Big Meech thing. because of course there were allegations about him being a rat. I don't know how much is true. That's above beyond my pay grade. I'm not on that type of time. The thing that was more problematic to me was the Irv Gotti piece. You get what I'm saying? And I think most people probably would have felt some type of way about that because, unfortunately, the brother passed away. And it's like, I get that you may not necessarily want to run the piece with Ja or whoever, right? You just could not say nothing. You dig what I'm saying? And I get this, like, fuck you till it's a rock, right? It's a rap. But it literally is a rap. Like, if niggas say fuck you till the caskets drop or whatever, the caskets just drop, sir. You know what I'm saying?
We done. We done here?
I have to go back and see what the timing was because maybe 50 said it before they was able to put his body into the ground, and in which case there may be a grace period before the announcement of the death.
He just made it
in the ground. But once you know he's kind of dead, dog, you can just be like, even if you feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying? You might be like, "Ooh, thank God, finally." You know what I'm saying? I'm here, he's not. You know, even if you feel
that's
that
50.
way, that's I'm saying. At that point, you can just not say nothing, right? And I think to me, that would begin the hey, bro, right? Like, do we need to talk? Are you okay?
Are you okay?
We begin to tread down that conversation of are you okay? But the fact that he's being petty in most cases, I think it's understandable, even if it's like not just for play. But come on, man, y'all for real? Y'all mean to tell me that there's not people, even at this big ass age of yours, that somebody could do something to you and you might not feel like responding in some type of way. And if you don't think that's healthy.
No. People, yes, there are circumstances where people can move against you, move against me, and that will trigger a appropriate response. And I believe, and I think it's up to me to decide what an appropriate response is. Right. And so back to what you're saying about 50. 50 is just showing who he is. He is petty. He petty from the rooter to the tutor. 50 say the beef ain't dead till he dead. You know what I mean? Just so you die first, what? I mean, you don't get to say nothing else. That's your fault. 50 still gonna get his shots in. So I think there are ways people can cross you and they dead to you forever. Or if they're not dead to you forever, then you decide you want to assassinate their success. It happens.
Well, let's spin it forward then, right? Real quick before we move on. So, Devon, like, what would be the appropriate way for men who are in their late 40s, right? Because whether it's on some of these clubhouse conversations where grown people are crashing out, or on social media, right, where we see grown people crashing out, like at some point, is there an age that there's an expectation that we should be able to deal with things differently, and what does that look like, especially when it comes to conflict amongst men? Like, we can both agree, like, fighting, nobody should be fighting at this big ass age of us, right? We should not be fist fighting outside the club, right? Well, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, no, I think we should be able to, hash things out, especially if it's a business thing. We want to, try to keep things on the up and up. To me, I'm being like a sports. We're going to keep it in the locker room, man. We're not going to do it on ESPN, if we gotta get public with it, to me is getting out of control at that point. If we got issues, then let's hash it out, man. Or just I'm just quietly don't deal with each other. I think getting online and getting all outside with it and involving everybody. I think we should be beyond that. That's my thoughts. I think involving the public, that's my personal opinion. Involving the public, who does it help? Now, if you just like, hey, that's just him. That's just how he get down. Then okay.
Is there a locker room for us though, for Black men? Like, is there like a locker room setting or for Black celebrities? Is there a place that they can have the conversation where it's not on ESPN, where it's not on prime time? Is there a back channel? I mean, I guess if there was a back channel, we wouldn't know about it because it's a back channel. Is that how that works? Like, is there a space where we can? Is there like at one point we had our own media, and our media would be the place we would go to discuss these things, right? Because it was trusted as a third, as a neutral, party, right? Mediator of sorts. Not having our own media, then where do we go other than to the airways to air out our grievances?
Well, hold on. Okay, let's backtrack this a little bit, right? Because we want to we're having these conversations right now, right?
Right.
So I certainly think that's important, right? In terms of being part of the media. So we're
You can be
certainly
here.
trying
That's right.
to engage.
That's right. Good answer. Good answer.
Right. But I want to go back to something real quickly because we're talking about, and we want to kind of close out with some maybe actionable things or things that we can say, hey, maybe this is. So like, for example, Delvin, do you think we're too old to be fighting, fist fighting? Because I remember you might say, for example, if somebody talked to you a certain type of way, I still got the energy that you might be willing to still throw down and throw some hands. So at some point in time, should we be beyond throwing hands?
At some point, even if it comes, that's definitely a last resort, not a first resort.
Okay, well, stop right there for a second, right? So because most fights are not necessarily going to happen privately, right? You might be at, an outside event, nigga say something to you, or there's a bunch of people there, right? Because I'm trying to differentiate between, you mentioned the whole internet and public beefing, but I feel like if it comes to fisticuffs, niggas don't give a fuck if it's in public or not. Niggas are sitting there talking about, hold on, I'm about to whoop your ass, but let's go behind these closed doors because people should not be
Right.
seeing two grown-ass
Black men fight.
47-year-olds out here fighting in the parking lot, right? So what I'm saying is, right, and I guess, listen, what I'm saying is this, man. At this age, I think over 40, why are you still fighting? So that should be scratched off. I don't give a fuck if it's in physical fisticuffs or virtually, for real. Like, in other words, two grown-ass men should be able to talk through their differences, right? And at the very least, if they're not able to talk through their differences, they should be able to agree to disagree and then move accordingly. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, if there are some monetary or other interests for them to do otherwise, like social media clout or whatever, all bets are off. And so in 2025, we don't know which one of these things fall into that category. But I think like for men who are not out here trying to build a social media following, what we're trying to advocate for is for healthier ways to deal with adversity or conflict with other men that does not involve violence, right? That does not involve death, okay? And hopefully does not, involve any mental distress. Okay, we can't be out here talking about how Black men are dealing with all these mental health issues while we're advocating for putting more mental health issues on us with the conflicts that we have with each other. The shit don't make no goddamn sense.
Right. And look, to your point, I think, raising up with being public figures, going back to what Mr. Goodwood said, I think some of it is, even if there is a space to handle these things kind of, in the back, the people want clout. They want to do it and they want to be seen doing it in public. I think that's part of the issue. And we should be too old to do that too. I mean, what do you think?
Well, if people don't see you say what you said, then the person you said it to can say you said anything. So is that a reason to go public? If you handle in the back channels and the person tells the story later on, they're like, yeah, man, he was in the room crying, like he was begging me and pleading. And that's not even what happened. Right. So I'm just saying the stage is bigger, but the games are the same.
It's happening in public because I think a lot more interactions are happening in public, right? Like if you think about the pandemic, most interactions would have probably happened online. So the chances of any impropriety or disrespect or whatever would have also happened publicly online, whether it's in the comment sections or otherwise. So there's a part of our lives that has transitioned to just the public space. That's why I'm trying to draw the distinction between fighting in real life for real, and how crazy that looks versus like doing it online, right? And trying to draw those distinctions between maybe we should be fighting at all. Like maybe we've developed ourselves enough to where we can have discernment. Maybe we can have conversations. We can decide to move differently. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's the point I was trying to make. But listen, speaking of making decisions and discernment and moving accordingly, right? I think this is a little bit more fun of a topic, right? Because did y'all hear how you pronounce his name? Kofi Siriboe? Siriboe.
Yeah.
All right, Kofi Siriboe.
I've been butchering his name.
Yeah, listen, I didn't listen to it on the AI, or maybe I did. But listen, I'm sure the ladies
doing
out
better
there,
than me.
The ladies out there, I'm sure know how to pronounce his name. He's Ralph Angel from, was it Queen Sugar? He also is currently in Amazon Prime's Harlem, right? And so it's funny because his character, I think in one of the scenes that I saw, was telling like the girl that he's been dating, and I guess they fell in love with each other, that, hey, man, I realized that I'm, ethically non-monogamous, which is, hey, I want to be able to correctly date as many women as I want or be with. Is that right, Devin? If I'm fucking that up? Like ethically non-monogamous is like, hey, I don't want to be with just one person. And by telling you straight up, it's ethical now. And as long as you agree with it moving forward, then regardless of whether or not you choose to do your thing, but you accept me doing my thing means that we are at least in a really good place. Is that about right?
Transparency and full disclosure.
Now, what's funny about this, right? Because you guys are obviously aware of the conversation that's been happening in regards to women want to be told the truth. Like, hey, tell me the truth, and I am, like, I just want guys
promise
to
I won't get mad.
Yeah, like. So it's funny because for as much as they've been thirsting after this brother, right, since his Queen Sugar days, I think, and maybe even before then, oh man, they turned against him once he came out because I guess art imitated life or life imitated art. Like his character did that. But then around Valentine's Day, he came out and was like, hey, man, I'm on that type of time. He tried to be as smooth with it as possible. You know how brothers do. We put all the caveats out there. Like, I just think being with the women is amazing. You know what I mean? It's just that, like, just being with one woman, it's not that I can't really, like, commit to her in that way. It's just that I felt like at this moment in my he was doing one of those. But all
you're doing an okay job. You're doing an okay job.
You didn't approve of his finesse. Right. You tried.
I don't think he did a good job of improving his finesse either, because the ladies weren't feeling it. And they were like, they went ham. So I guess my question to y'all is, first of all, as men, right, do you guys applaud this brother for like just being open and honest, even if it affects his pockets? Because, we were talking about that before, because it could affect his pockets, right? But do you guys applaud this brother for being open and honest about what he's looking for in relationships, his relationship style? And also, what do y'all think about like how the ladies responded to it? Was, any surprises, any hypocrisy? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I applaud the brother for, standing on business, as we say. We all like to throw that around, standing on business. This is what it looks like. Hey, and that's how you find what you're looking for. He told the ladies, hey, look, this is how I'm moving. You can choose to, get down with it or not. That's your choice. But I think the mob turning on him, like you said, I got to go check the comments. I think the mob turning on him is hilarious because the mob, you guys didn't even have a shot. Like, what are y'all upset? Like he was the one that got away. Like, this is silly, mob. I'm real disappointed in you ladies. But the bigger issue is women turning on him and proving the point I've made that guys, you're like, well, why do men lie? Why y'all lie so much? Because telling the truth don't get you laid. Look how you turned on him. This is a really perverse incentive structure. Men are incentivized to lie, and the ladies proved it in real time. You'd rather be cheated on, and that's fine too. Just say that. Look, I know I said I want you can be honest. I won't get mad. I lied. I'm going to get mad if you be honest with me. Just lie and don't let me find out. That's what they really want. So it's really a perverse incentive structure. But I'm glad he stood on business and said what he was looking for instead of cosplaying as monogamous like the rest of these people. But that's my take.
No, I think that's a good point. I think I'm glad that he did what he did for no other reason than the fact that it exposed these women for the liars that they are. Okay, liars. Well, on one hand, liars. On the other hand, no, they're being rock solid true to who they are. And so I say liars because women are like, yes, they do that. Oh, tell me what you want. Just be honest with me. I just want a guy to be honest. If he's honest, I can accept anything. So, yeah. But then the part of them being true to the core, and I know I'm on both sides, that's just how I am, is because they're so competitive with each other, right? Naturally competitive. You can call it natural selection if you would. But that competitive nature, even though the numbers don't work out, the math doesn't math. There are always more women than there are men. So ladies, when you set your sights on monogamy, when you're so set on monogamy that you'd rather a guy not be ethical and be monogamous than be ethically non-monogamous, that's a real shame. It's a real shame because what you're really doing is in selfishness. You are condemning so many of your sisters that you say you love with your girl code, but you're condemning them to being single forever.
Are you
not
saying
having
that
no dude, not having no piece on the side, not having no little pipe cleaning every now and then. You condemning them for that just because you trying to lock it down and the numbers ain't out there. That ain't right. Go ahead, Devin. I'm sorry.
Are you saying that the sisterhood is BS, and when they say I want for my sister what I want for myself?
Yes, I'm saying the sisterhood of traveling pants only works until one of them pants finds a home, and then the sisterhood is over. It's over.
That's depressing. What do you think, Nick?
I mean, listen, I found Jay's argument really strong in the fact that, like, women don't be looking out for each other. You know what I mean? Like, Shorty got herself a good man, knowing there's a whole bunch of women out there without men at all, let alone like a good one, right? And so rather than recognize that I could just kind of loan the nigga out just so a bitch don't got to be lonely, like, just want to keep the nigga to herself. And the really fucked up part be the ones who don't even take care of the nigga they got for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Don't you hate it?
Speak on
Like,
it.
can you imagine a chick who's like not giving her nigga none? And then she gonna be mad that he found somewhere else. Like, how much more selfish can you be for real selfish, bitch? But we're being super toxic.
Super toxic. It's right we have all the guys on.
I think we have the disclaimer at the top of the show.
I think we cooking.
Right. The guys in the kitchen.
But listen, let me say this, right? I don't agree with what he did. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Like, first of all, the nigga had a fucking character that he did. And even if that was him kind of pouring through that character, he had a plausible deniability still. He had the best of both worlds. He could have been like, oh, you ain't see that show I did, right? If
I wasn't acting.
If it ever came up, right?
Surprise.
You know what I mean? Or, you feel me? Like, because this is part of the conversation in regards to like how much you should disclose for real. Like him disclosing this information to like thousands, to the world, who does that serve? The only person that would really need to know that is the young lady or whoever, young lady that he's dealing with, and be like, hey, this is the type of time I'm on, right? She's the only one that needs to know that, right? Because think about this. Like, even now, because, a lot of women will deal with a lot of things, but what's the one thing that we all should know that women just don't want to tolerate, regardless of whether or not they would tolerate this relationship style? What's the one thing that, whether it's cheating or otherwise, that women are like, it's a tough thing to overcome? Anyone, fellas? What's the one thing?
Embarrassment.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Public embarrassment, right?
Yeah.
We see whatever happened with what's the girl Jazzy that's dating her, or with Cam or whatever, because she's moving a certain type of way. You have all these other, and mainly women, who's going to sit there and judge you in regards to like, oh my God, girl, how can you take that? You must be a pick me. All this other shit. It's not dudes who are sitting here hating on women in that way. So
That's a good point.
My point is like, Kofi, whatever the fuck his name is, did himself a disservice, right? By putting this out there. For what purpose? What, for the sake of being honest?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Honesty is over fucking rated. You dig what I'm saying? People gotta know and pick and choose when to get into their honesty bag, yo. Like, it's TMI, fam. The way that he did it was too much information, because there was too many people who now knew his business and who now will then also judge his business. He wasn't protecting his future queen doing that. So that's what I'm saying. This is an example of niggas be wanting to stand on some shit. Cool, appreciate you, right? And yes, maybe more men should. You dig what I'm saying? But I will say this, though. Now, I'm going to be honest, since it's just the fellas here, I would just keep it a buck. So on the show, by the time he revealed his truth, Shorty was already bought in.
She was already all in.
Now, if we're going to be honest, in terms of, from a strategy standpoint, ladies, career here or no.
Spoiler alert.
If a guy was going to try to jigger that, you know what I'm saying, to try to increase the odds of her saying yes, wouldn't it make sense that she got a chance to sample the product first to know what she'd be really getting? In other words,
if it was worth sharing,
right? No, because in the show Harlem, I guess he was revealing to her mid-relationship that he was non-monogamous, right? So I think in real life, maybe Kofi K wanted to put it out there, so therefore he doesn't feel like, hey, I don't want there to be no questions of any chick who fucks with me, right? But I guess my question to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think, like, when is the right time to communicate this? Like, is it on day one, or like for real? What's up?
So based on what you were saying, I would have thought the right time is when you find a woman that you like enough to be like, hey, I'm gonna let you know my secret. Ain't none of y'all finna get it. But otherwise, you just let everybody believe what they're gonna believe and believe that they're the only one. I guess so honestly, I'm big on authenticity. I think you come out the door with it. I was ethically non-monogamous in college for a span of time. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the freedom. I enjoyed not having to hide, not having to lie. Just be like, hey, our time together is a time together, a time apart is a time apart. Love Jay, you know the rest. So I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think it was good when I came out with it up front. If she was on that kind of time, then she's on the kind of time. And if she's not, then she's not. The women you miss out on are the women you didn't need. So I say, fellas, speak your truth, be authentic, tell her where you at. She might go for it. You know what I mean? If she go for it, she the one you should be kicking it with. If she doesn't go for it, then keep going until you find that one.
Okay, hold on. So Jay,
Yeah.
you meet Shorty at the restaurant or at the bar or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, my name is Jay. I'm ethically
No,
okay.
no.
So
not like that.
Too,
not like
too
that.
soon.
Okay.
Too soon.
Don't do that.
Okay.
That's too soon. Right.
Okay.
You're right. Let me give some bumpers here. Thank you.
Go
My bad, fellas. My bad. Okay, so listen, fellas. You don't have to bring this up until she actually asks you or she moves towards some sort of question about your stance on relationships and commitment. Like if she goes, well, I'm dating with intention. Okay, then it's probably a conversation that you'd like to have.
Even if you're
preferably,
not? Just because she's telling you what she wants doesn't mean it has to move you.
I'm saying you might want to have it before or after you smash, is what I'm saying. At some point in time.
Before or after?
Right. Yes. If you smash, you got to have the conversation right after you smash. Like, hey, listen, about this
hold on.
Definitely before she asks, so what are we?
Hold on.
Yeah,
you're saying,
what Devin said is better.
You're saying, I'm trying to understand. You're saying that it is scenarios where you can tell her after the fact, after you smash, hey, by the way, I'm ethically non-monogamous.
Right. I'm ethically non-monogamous. But what we did last night was so good, I'm reconsidering. Let's continue to talk about it.
Right. It's under review.
It's under review. You know what I'm saying? Girl, you might win me over. Let's keep trying.
Okay, listen, this is the broadcast. We want to be somewhat responsible here.
Listen, I tell y'all, entertainment purposes only tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back. So at what point, Delvin, please bring some sanity here. At what point are you going to tell her, hey, shorty, I'm ethically non-monogamous? What's happening?
Yeah, I think definitely before you smash is probably a healthy point. Before she asks, so what are we? I'm Mr. Goodwood. I'm usually with you. I got to disagree with you on this, and I'm with Nick on this one.
He's right. They're right. They're both right.
I think definitely when there's some sexual tension, it's drifting in that way. You need to have that conversation. Because
but why,
the problem is people assume monogamy. It's just assumed. They don't even ask. I know people don't ask. They just assume you are. You know.
Okay, I got a thing though. Listen, if she's
I think it's better. It'll seem less scummy. To Nick's point, if you have that conversation before,
hold on, I didn't say I did not put words into my mouth.
No, I'm ad-libbing. I'm talking scummy, Delvin. Thanks, Delvin, for labeling me.
It'll seem. I'm not you. I mean, you're a great human being. It'll seem less morally questionable if you bring that up before. Because she's assuming you're monogamous. Let's just get that out.
Hold on. No. That's not a fair assumption. That's the point I want to attack, right? Before you was ascribing some attributes to me, like Nick said it was a scummy. No. I did not. I was just pointing it out because I wanted to delineate whether or not Jay was saying it was okay to reveal it after the fact, right? I had not cast any judgment or aspersions on that. But, right, I do got to push back on you a little bit, Devin, because you said that it's to be assumed, right? So if you
assume they shouldn't assume.
I'm saying if the premise of, hey, I should tell her before we have sex is because, hey, I'm assuming that she wants a relationship. So what I'm asking you is, even if she doesn't bring it up, right? And if both of them are air quotes going with the flow, there has not been any intention, ascribed by either side. Right. And so he's scummy because he chose to just go with the flow too. And then even if the conversation is brought up after the fact, it's like, oh, you want a relationship? Well, bitch, why you ain't say something?
I thought we were just kicking it.
I feel like where's the responsibility on the woman's side to be like, yo, this is what I want. So to put it on the guy maybe I agree with you in terms of, yes, this is what men should do, but to make it scummy, I just don't know if I would ascribe that word. I feel it's a little too strong.
I got another pushback too. I got a pushback
Go ahead,
on all right. So if she's like dating with intention in this scenario, right? But she's willing to smash and we're not married and we're not even engaged, right? Do I really owe her the conversation about the ethical non-monogamy? Because she's clearly out here doing her thing. We're not at that point, clearly. If she's dating for attention, is she smashing for intention? Like, is this bait and smash?
And that's why I brought up the what are we conversation, like what are we do? Okay, now definitely at that point you need to listen. I know you want to know what are we, and we're gonna moving towards a monogamous relationship. Just say it, like, unless you can't afford to lose her, then that's a whole other conversation.
It's time to be monogamous.
Hold on, let's play this out, right? Because if we're talking about the end game here is monogamy. Right, so she goes,
because they're out here cosplaying.
I'm wilding. Okay,
she goes, what are we? We're friends, we're dating, Like, I'm trying to understand how you get to the point of I'm looking for a non-ethical life, because I don't think at that point it's gonna sell. I don't think you can be like, at that point, oh man, I'm looking for an ethically non-monogamous relationship.
Because look, there's a good point between dating for 9 months and I just met you at the grocery store. There's a point in there somewhere where it's appropriate to have the conversation. You see what I'm saying?
It's like when she drops when she's like, are you seeing other people? I'm not seeing anybody. Then that's when you had a conversation. You know what I mean? If she's
but you can tell her, I'm not seeing other people right now, and you would still be telling her the truth.
Just say, but I got time.
Basically, Nick says, look at her.
You're the only person.
I'm only seeing you.
I'm only seeing.
It's important that you look at her, because otherwise you're lying. So look at her.
I've been sitting here waiting for you at the bus stop. I got nothing going on. I got no roster, no rotation.
We're gonna be in so much trouble.
And for those of y'all, these are all just jokes, y'all. We are just having a good time. This is what happens.
Only.
Yes,
this is what happens when there's no estrogen in the room. But in all seriousness, though, right? So we all agree that you're not going to necessarily tell Shorty from day one, "Hey, man, I'm on this plan," right? But I think we also can agree that you probably want to tell her a little bit more sooner rather than later, just to be an upstanding guy.
Yeah.
Is that what
before she starts making plans?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Before she starts making plans, and I think, Nick, in the show, it's a really good illustration the way their whole relationship played out in the timeline. And she was already planning the wedding, and she had the kids' names picked out, and she was way down the road.
But hold on, let me ask you this though, right? Like, so men are allowed to evolve, right? Like, he could have went into that situation and not having realized what type of time he was on, and just like she's having life experience, he is. And so there's a possibility that sometimes men aren't for sure, right, in terms of what they want necessarily. Right? Let me ask you. Let me break it. Let me ask y'all this though, right? Because I do feel it's kind of weird that, like, there's a narrative that if a guy finds the one, that she will inspire him to want to be with her, right? And so I think women are kind of triggered by this conversation because it takes you're the one away from them, right? To a certain extent in regards to the whole monogamy thing.
Yeah, that's ego.
Right? So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
Because there wasn't supposed to be, because the idea that there was only supposed to be a one is a Western construct. It didn't exist. It was not the prevailing, predominant whatever in some established societies for many, many hundreds of years before this. So there's a pushback because it's all they've known is this: you have to be the one, and a guy validates you by choosing you and making it all about you and spending a third of his salary on you and your ring and paying for this day and doing all these things and catering and and making you the prize, and that's how we got there. We got
like
there
Disney.
Yeah, yes.
Well, hold on. I know that's an easy one, right? But Devon, I have a quick question for you though, right? why do I get the feeling that when women hear ethically non-monogamous, they hear lack of commitment? And are they off? I hear what you're saying, Jay, right? Because I get the whole fairy tale princess and all the other kind of stuff too, right? But we also do know that there are some women who are willing to just be in relationships, situationships even, right? For some level of commitment or consistency from a man, right? So I guess my question is, do y'all think that when they hear ethically non-monogamous, that it means a lack of commitment, and are they right? Delvin, what you think about that?
Yeah, I think they process it as, "No, I'm not committed," but maybe he can commit to more than one person. Just because a lot of people can't do it, don't mean it can't be done. You got to show your work. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. So I think they process it that way because they're socially conditioned to. But I don't think it necessarily means it. I don't think it means he isn't committed. Because if he's just not a committed person, guess what? If it's just you and him, he can be not committed there too. He's just gonna cheat on you, or it'll manifest itself in some other way. So just because you guys are monogamous doesn't mean he's committed either.
There are so many other levels of commitment besides sex. There are so many other, and there are so many that are so much more
Right.
important. I would prefer to have a partner who has my back at all times and fucks the whole city than to have a woman who sleeps on only me and she's conniving behind my back, she's manipulative, she's all the other things, and I get no peace. Please, I would trade. You know what I'm saying? If that was my situation, yeah, I would trade that. Please don't even question it. So that's the first thing, and then the second thing is, I don't think that, I think with women, I think what they're really triggered by is the fact that the dirty secret is that the sex is a bait, right? That the sex is a bait, and it's a bait to try to get monogamy. And when a man is saying, I am ethically non-monogamous, in other words, I am going to tell you up front that I am open to sex with, you know what I'm saying? But I am not going to be exclusive with it. I have no intention to be exclusive with it. So this is not going to be how you lock me down. And I think that's what she blows up at. Like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this guy now. How do I get him?
That was my one trick.
That was my one trick. I had the WAP, or so I thought. And so then she go, I don't know what to do now. I think that's the thing, honestly.
Okay. I mean, I think you guys are correct in regards to the whole princess thing. That's definitely a part of it. I do think there is a how a person sees themselves component of that as well. But I was going to ask you guys, do you guys think that more guys, well, first of all, how many guys do you think really want these types of relationships? Because I feel like there's less, because I've heard enough guys say, oh my God, it's hard enough to deal with one woman versus two, right? So on the one hand, I think people think there are more guys who want to kind of do this thing than there really are, right? Does that make sense what I'm asking? Like, do you
No,
think
that makes perfect sense.
I feel like we overestimate the number of guys who may want, because I was going to ask you, should guys be more honest, right? And be more forthcoming about wanting this life? I think we probably all can agree, if that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Why not, right? But then I started thinking, like, how many guys would really want that and really say that? So I guess that's my question to y'all. Do you think, how many more guys do you think really want to live this type of lifestyle but are not saying it? And why should they? If we're knowing that the incentive structure is what it is.
I think 60 to 80% want it.
60 to 80% of men want to be able to be ethically non-monogamous.
Yes, I think they would. I think that only about 40% can handle it. So I don't think I don't advise it for everybody. It's not every man's path. I think some men are not built for it. And that's not a dig to them. I think that's the beauty of nature, right? There's all kinds of people. There's a spectrum, and there's this variation, and so there is somebody to match every type of energy if you care to spend the time to find it and to be authentic in who you are, what your energy is. So yeah, no, I think that there's a lot. I think that men are afraid of marriage to a great degree. They're afraid of locking into just one woman for a number of reasons. Some of them are sexual, some of them are others. And I think that ethical non-monogamy gives them a chance to really spend time like almost it's like a practice polygamist, I guess. You're practicing, you're in these different exchanges and these situations and relationships with these women, but nobody's locked it in yet. You're still like, let's just see what it is and keep going. And to women who are trying to lock it down, and some men are trying to lock it down too, the people who are trying to lock it down, this is a problem. you're dirty in the pool, you know, you're muddy in the water, you're whatever. But I don't think that's it. I think, yeah, go ahead.
You know, and here's the beauty of it. And I think, you know, women should try to look at it this way. By him, you know, putting that out there, or just men in general, sooner rather than later, he's not taking your choices away. And I've had women tell me that's the big thing. It's like, I can deal with the other women. It's I don't like being lied to and having you take my choices away. I might be okay with it, but it's the fact that you took my choices away that made it the issue. So
That's
now we're back to this is what
they
women
say.
have told me.
I know. I'm agreeing with y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, you said
so now they have to decide which pill am I going to swallow? Is it I want the truth and I'm not going to punish it, or I'm going to keep my incentive structure the way it is, that I punish truth telling and incentivize being lied to. It's one of you got to pick a struggle. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it was cap because I think every woman says that, but not every woman really means that for real, right?
I completely agree.
And can't find the right words to truly articulate the core of what they're really feeling, right?
There is a percentage of cap in there.
Yeah, there's a certain level of percentage for sure.
Some of them mean it. Some of them mean it.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't think as many men, Jay, I think in their heads they think like, yeah, they would want to, but in practice, I don't think they do, right? We hear way too many number of men, especially the younger guys, who are not having sex at all, right? It's not even a small number. It's a big number that they're talking about who are like on that track, right? So that's a big number already excused from the game. We hear all the complaints going on, so it's not like niggas are. Matter of fact, some of the niggas who are not getting some are talking about the select 15 to 20% of niggas who are getting some, right? So that would tell you right that they're there, right?
Easy on the select.
so I think that yes, it's like a fantasy where people are like, oh my God, I love to do this, but in reality, nah. Like in practice, nah. So I think that number is far less in terms of like being able to move that way, right? Ethnically. And I also want to say something about that too, right? You can still be in committed relationships, right? I think the ethical part is about being honest and open in regards to how you move, right? And then the non-monogamy is to say, hey, I might be more into polygamy, for example, right? These does not exclude people from having a committed relationship. Like, hey, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to build with you. We can be together for life, right? But while we're together, I might be together with somebody else. And that's the other thing I was going to say too, is that just because a person has the choice, it doesn't mean that they always exercise that choice either.
That's right.
You dig what I'm saying? A person can be ethically non-monogamous, and yeah, I got the choice to go outside and do me, but I choose to be here. And I'm gonna land with this, and this might sound really crazy, but I think people really underestimate how powerful that choice is. Like if the person is choosing you because they're choosing you, that's different than them being obligated to choose you. You dig what I'm saying? It's almost like getting obligation head. You dig what I'm saying? You ever get some head where you're like, you know what, she's just doing her wifely duties, and it's just kind of like, right? Versus the like, oh my God, I'm really enjoying this head. It's two different types.
Two different.
You know?
Enthusiasm is everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I'm going to just leave it there because I also
That's what happens when it's just us guys.
Yeah, it's just, we know when, you know, the shit just hits differently. Speaking of hitting differently, though, right? So, okay, listen, man. Shout out to Devon Franklin, who's around our age as well. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. He just got engaged to his new boo, right? They've known each other for like the last year. They met, they fell in love, and he proposed to her. Picturesque. Okay, they both look beautiful. Shout out to the beautiful couple. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him and Megan Good for showing, come on, man, right? For showing you, like, listen, post-divorce, we can find love on a two-way street or whatever street they found it on. But shout out to them, right? But the thing that got me, I don't know, you know, damn songs. So the thing that got me though was number one, he's been divorced for 3 years, cool, but he's only met Shorty and he knew her for like about a year, right? Before he popped, you know, the question. And I know the ladies going like, oh my God, a year is more than enough. So I'm gonna ask you all about that. But the other thing that got to me was that Shorty was like 29, right? He's 46. You dig what I'm saying? So what are y'all thoughts about either the amount of time? I mean, people say a year is more than enough time. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And the age difference. As Black men, you know, around this age, like, would y'all do that? Like, how low would y'all, I mean, how young would y'all go?
Wow, how low?
I
Really?
mean, I
You
mean
say
low.
how low would you go?
I did not
Really? Is
mean
that
low.
what
That
you're
was a Freudian slip.
I'm not
you
answering
know
it
what
first.
I'm
Look at
saying?
that.
So what y'all thinking,
Oh
man? What
man.
y'all thoughts?
Not really,
Yeah, I
Devin.
think I think at our, as they say, big age, I think 12 to 18 months is enough. Especially, if you've been spending a lot of time with each other and, having experiences and doing a lot of talking and really digging deep and putting in that quality time. I think that's enough. The age gap, that could be. You get into that weird space where what kind of do we have in common? You know, like because guys are like, oh, she just gets me. I'm like, she's 25 or 26. Like, come on, man. I don't know. I don't know that I've seen it go bad multiple times with that big of an age gap. I've the cases that I know where it's worked out and they're still together and there's a big age gap. I can count them maybe 2, possibly. I've seen it go bad way more times than not, so it's always kinda made me, kinda shy away from the age gap, but maybe he's like, "You know what? I know it's a big age gap. When she's 46, I'm gonna be, knocking on 70, getting my Medicare, Medicaid and everything," so hopefully, hopefully he can ride it as long as he can, no pun intended. But I've observed it to be problematic more often than not. I mean, what do you think, Mr. Goodwoods?
Oh, well, all right. So far be it for me to judge what anybody's doing as long as it's legal, whatever.
Yeah.
But that being said, I probably wouldn't have suggested it because 18 years is a large gap. For me personally, in my own life, I've noticed that my life has kind of happened in these 20-year cycles, right? And so that 20-year number is kind of significant, maybe just to me, but you look at your own lives, people, tell me what you think. And so, he's catching somebody who is potentially mid-cycle. And he's about mid-cycle too. They just on different cycles. So if she's teachable, right? If he's got somebody who's willing to learn from him, and she's probably on her upward trajectory, right? She's at like 29, so she's probably maybe like career minded, maybe thinking about family and stability and what it's going to look like in the future or whatever. So if she's hooked up with a guy who she feels like can teach her and lead her to where she needs to be, that could be an excellent matchup that they have, right? As long as you account for the fact that the energy levels are going to be different. And I don't think people account for that when they're looking at the age gaps and difference. They're like, oh, I love her. I love him. He gets me. She gets me. The sex is amazing. Yeah, it probably, all that those things could be true. Blue pills notwithstanding. But the energy level, like where you like to spend your time, what you consider to be a fun night out, whether it's out in the club or whether you just want to stay home and watch a movie or read a book or, go somewhere more quiet. That how you spend your leisure does change as you age. And I don't think that's the thing people factor in when they're talking about these age gaps. And I understand, when you're a man, you want the best, hottest, freshest model. The one, I get it.
We
Right?
get it. We get it.
We get it. But just know that, the grass may be greener, but it's still got to be mowed. So, everything has upkeep and maintenance. And when you get these younger models, they're going to require a little more time than those older ones. And I just hope you got it, bro, because that's what it's going to take. As far as him knowing it for a year, Common said it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. I thought that was a dope line. So, if he found something special and it's magical, then on the bright side, I'm going to be like, yeah, man. On the other side, I'm going to say it could work, but you're going to put in the work on that relationship. You're going to put in the work either on the front end or the back end, bro. So if you get married after a year, that's cool. You locked it in the first year. I ain't mad at you. But you're not skirting the work that it's going to take to make that relationship work. That work's got to be done. Dude's got to be paid. Buckle up.
So I was gonna come in here and initially I was gonna kill him a little bit because I hate the conversations about you should know within a certain amount of time, And I'm trying to sit there and think like 1 year, if y'all spent every day together, right? You went through all her baby pictures, you know what I'm saying? You spent all the time with her family, you went through all of her past, you know what I'm saying? Y'all had all the deep conversations. You saw her, you had all the arguments that she should possibly be. Like there's a lot of life to go through in a fucking year for me to think like, yeah, this is the person that I'm willing to commit my life to, especially since after I had a divorce, right? Because I would think I'd be a little trigger happy, like a little gun shy.
Yeah,
know what
you
I'm
would think
saying?
so.
Like, I mean, I'm saying
Still
for
healing.
me, huh?
Still healing.
No, I mean, it's 3 years removed. I'm just simply saying, like, if you go through a 9-year marriage that didn't work out, maybe you thought you knew what you was looking for and it all worked, whatever, but then it doesn't. So then for you to turn around and only have been with someone for a year, I just think there's a lot that a person should want to try to get to know. And a year is a short amount of time to compact all of those things. Like, you literally only get to see them through only one season of spring, it's one spring, it's one summer, right? You don't know if like this just happened to be her good spring, but like next spring her allergies are gonna pop up and she might swell up like a jellyfish.
That's
you don't
true.
know because you only had one chance to see her during that one spring. I just kind of feel like a year is a short amount of time. But as y'all was talking, then I realized that Jay, he did do the math, he did do the science, and all of a sudden it made sense to me. Because I had to look this up when y'all was talking, and what made sense to me was he ain't got no children. He ain't got no childrens, right? Like, after being married to Megan Good for 9 years, and I think in 2010, she mentioned they wanted to start a family, and one could only kind of wonder now why their relationship didn't work out, because if the child thing was a key thing for him or in that relationship and they were unable to bring that into fruition, I can see how something like that could cause a fissure that would be hard to repair, right? Especially if she couldn't necessarily do anything about it, right? And so now the second go around, he found a 29-year-old who got at least 6 more good years before that 35-year-old, right? This brother probably want about 3 of them bad boys, okay? Right. So, Jay, when you talking about her career and all that, nah, nigga, say bye-bye to the career for at least the next 6 to 18 years, sis, right? And which might be what she wants. I mean, because truthfully, women want the soft life, and some of that comes with child rearing and, you know, being able to be at home. And so I think this might be something that could work for both of them if they are, in fact, at the right place in their lives. At 29, she's probably been outside, had a career for a little bit. She meets the brother, thinks he's good looking, and her man of her dreams, a godly man. And so for her, the next 6 years, if she envisions herself being a mom and being able to hold the house down and being able to provide for his needs as well, I can see why she would do it. And honestly, I'm like, I see you, my guy, because honestly, at 46, you can't really go with a 40-year-old, right? Unless you just resign to necessarily just being a stepdad. I mean, yes, there are 40-year-olds who are having children, maybe through IVF, but all of this makes sense. He ain't had no time. His biological clock was ticking.
Right.
We solved it. Look at
that. And a man in his position and under these circumstances, it makes perfect sense. You know what? Look, I'm 46. I don't have any kids. I'd like to have 2 or 3.
Somebody leave my stuff
That
too.
completely rules out the 35 and up. Like, there's nothing personal age. I got something I need to do. So the 25 to 29, that's gonna have to be my my target area.
Not to mention, right, if you're talking about not having any kids and you want to get with the woman to have kids and you're hoping that she does not have any kids, right? Is it fair? I think he probably struck at the right age, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess at 46, 47, how young could you go? You know what I'm saying? What's the youngest y'all could go in terms of potentially being in a serious relationship with the young lady?
Serious. Define serious. Is this
heard
a
formula,
ethically non-monogamous relationship?
Right. I heard half your age plus 7. I heard that's a good area. I don't know if anybody's ever heard.
Yeah, I think that was Elijah Muhammad, right? Nation of Islam. That was
yeah. That's where I heard that.
I ain't saying it. Hey, I like the math. Let me do the math.
I know what Elijah Muhammad teaches us.
Yeah. Carry the one.
Carry the one.
Yeah. What's my math?
Well, you know what? If we use his age, right? I think he did.
Dude's
use
right
that.
on. He did do it. At 30, he did do it. He's engaged. Is he engaged now? Or is he married now?
He's engaged. So she
Yeah,
got one more year.
When the wedding hits, she'll be 30. He'll be right on the bot.
Yeah.
Hey, great work, sir. I commend you.
Okay. Well, listen, the last thing, I think we solved that one real quick. Now that I look at it from that perspective, I am not mad, Devon. Okay. That brother went out there. He found she's a beautiful woman. I'm sure she is wholesome and all that. They're going to have beautiful kids. Okay. One last question for this one. How long you think we before she gets pregnant? How long, if we all in agreement, let's go on the BLC Pod Baby Watch with the fellas. So, fellas,
it's going to be the first,
just
for sure.
The stuff that guys talk about. How long before you think she's knocked up? If it was y'all, right?
Oh yeah, they're consummating that wedding night, man. It's going to be before the 1 year anniversary.
I'm gonna give him credit for being a God-fearing man, and you know what I'm saying, and holding his horses or whatever. So, 10 months, 11 months. They'll announce the pregnancy within the first 6 months after they married. Probably.
After they married,
I guarantee it.
Yeah,
they're not waiting for the wedding, are they? I mean, at this point, how long would you wait for the wedding? Right, 3 months, right? 3 months. You should get this done in 3 months. At this point, right?
At this point,
and we can time it to where she's not showing for the wedding. You know.
You get married in Vegas.
He's a pastor. She can't show up pregnant before he said I do. That just would be improper. It would be inappropriate.
It would be inappropriate.
He can say it's a Christmas story. I'm just.
But kidding. was actually I was going to ask y'all, right? Speaking about appropriate, because we've all heard about the backlash, right? That Serena supposedly got by some black men in particular, right? Because a lot of black men was like, "Yo, was she out there, dancing, at the guy Dre, her ex? Like, if that was my wife, right? Jay, who was that? Was that Whitlock?
That was
and
Stephen A.
Smith. We all know Stephen A. Smith said some things, right?
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah,
he said that.
I mean, okay, you sound so enthused by him saying that, right? So listen, okay, it was a Crip Walk heard around the world, right? When Serena, who was supposedly getting back at all the naysayers who were mad at her original Crip Walk at some tournament she had years ago that nobody really remembered for real, except for Kendrick Lamar because he's so deep with all of his thoughts and how he choreographs things. Cool. It didn't have anything to do with Drake whatsoever. But some people say, hey, right? Because she was being petty. It was about Drake. And so black men was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? But let's be honest, part of the reason why I think some of them were saying that was because she's married to Alexis Ohanian, who was the founder of Reddit, who happens to not be black. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But Jay, apparently didn't Alexis finally, shoot back at the Jason Whitlocks and the Stephen A. Smiths who had something to say, right?
Yeah, yeah, he did. He did. First, let me say, I commend him. Okay, sir, the fact that you're a white does not discount your ability to stand up and defend, even though you shouldn't have to defend whatever's going on with your wife. That's your wife, bro. People can't tell you what to do with your wife. And then Stephen A. ain't even married. He gonna open up his speech tomorrow. Well, if I was married, I'd be getting divorced. Man, if you found a woman that you liked enough to get married, and talk about it then. And then if she respected you enough to have those kind of conversations, then yeah, whatever. But I really like the way that the dude hit it, Mr. O. I'll call him that. I like the way he responded because he drew the attention back to the fact that he said, listen, it's not about Drake. It's not. Yeah, she happens to be one of Drake's exes. It's about this dance. It's about her being able to do a dance on this national stage that Wimbledon would have fined her for. And she went hard on it. And if you look at Samuel L. Jackson and his speech about it not being about, we can't be too ghetto. They were trying to tell a story, and people are trying to detract from the story because people didn't really some people did not appreciate the message that Kendrick was trying to say. They didn't appreciate the conversation. They didn't appreciate us still having this America divided race conversation. They didn't appreciate it, but it's still present in our national mind, so we have to have it. I like how Whitlock. He broke Whitlock down. He's like, yeah, man, you're 57 and you ain't got nothing better to do with your life. I like the way he did it. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't petty, but I think he was kind of witty with it. It was classy. And man, people come at your wife, yeah, you stand up and you say what you got to say. You know what I mean? You put people where they got to be. So I like what he did. As far as her dancing, like I said, I feel like her dancing was bigger than Drake. I feel like the whole point of the thing was supposed to be that everything they were doing was mostly bigger than Drake, and they were trying to show Drake was bigger than Drake, which is kind of an oxymoron, but we'll come back to that later. I'll pass it to you, Devin, because I think I made my point in that, yeah, bro, you was right. You was right. Tell Stephen A. to shut up and mind his business and go get a girl. And Jason Whitlock, it ain't none of his business either. You right, bro. You right. Devon.
Yeah. I think Stephen A. Like you said, man, you gotta go get an old lady first, and then you can come back and tell me how to run my properly conduct my marriage. But yeah, I think clapping back was cool. Hopefully he did it on Reddit. So it'll be even fun. You got your own platform. Nobody can tell you shit.
Right. They can just vote you down.
But Jason Whitlock, I would have said it out. I don't even know why he even commented on me. You're almost 60, man. It's okay. Just sit this conversation out, man. It's all good. You don't have to comment on everything. I mean, I thought it was a good performance. Just fun Super Bowl halftime show. Y'all just want something to talk about. You're making it too deep. But the guy is gonna defend his wife. Even the whole doing a performance. I thought they were just making as much to do about nothing. We're just doing a Super Bowl. This is a job. It's like going to work.
Okay. So I see we don't have real conversations. I guess S&M took the real conversations with her on this episode because let me ask y'all just a simple question, right? So if y'all wives did anything to show you that she was still bothered by her ex, would y'all feel some type of way about that?
I've been there.
It's a simple question. Yes or no? Yes or no? Would y'all feel some type of way if y'all wife did something to show you that she was still bothered emotionally by her ex? Would y'all feel some type of way?
Yeah, well, when you say it that way, well, yeah.
What? When you say it that way, well, that's the way it was being said when them niggas talked about it. Okay, because yes, you can say all the shit that y'all want about what the meaning was behind Kendrick, right? But people also say Kendrick is double entendre, man. You dig what I'm saying? Like, so yes, it could have been that, and it also could have been that she was being petty at the little kickback at Drake. So that's why I'm like, okay, let me just reframe it. If she was in fact doing something that showed that many years later she was still bothered by her ex, would it be okay for men to surmise, well, damn, if she out there doing that publicly, I'd have a problem with that, right? It doesn't sound so crazy when I reframe it that way, huh? Right? Because we lack imagination to imagine that is possible. That's in fact what they said. If it was my woman, because everybody assumed that it was in part about Drake. And Jay, I'm sorry, bro. The thing that gets me is I don't understand how something can be bigger than Drake when everybody's waiting for the song that was about Drake. So I'm not going to go into that part of the conversation, right? Because if you want to make something about the message, the real bold statement would have been, I'm going to do that, but no, I'm going to do something else because it's really deeper and all that other kind of bullshit. But that's not what it was, right? We still celebrate it. So please, that's a different conversation. Come back and watch some previous episodes of Said Nicely. But if we're talking about him, Alexis Ohanian specifically, my next question to y'all is, and as black men, can we please try to keep it real, right? Do y'all not think there was some element of when we see black women with white dudes that we think they're chump? Come on, man. Are we finna have some real conversations?
Okay, first off,
is there no element of that there? Can we just be honest about that before we continue?
No, I disagree.
So you don't think that there are a significant number?
When I see a white guy with a black woman, I do not think he's chump. I do not think he's more chump than seeing a white guy with a white woman. Matter of fact, the fact that he pulled his sister tells me he's less chump than probably the other guy.
Okay, so remove you specifically from that situation.
Remove me. I'm an outlier.
I'm saying, do you think that a majority of brothers, just on some barbershop conversation talk, they would look at him and look at like he chump a little bit, like they might step to his girl type of shit? Come on, man, we be here for real now.
Yes.
Okay, so Jay, you had your chance because you was doing that Texas two-step, right?
I mean, nobody's finding, Alexis Ohanian don't have brothers shaking in their boots and no shit like that. I mean, if that's what we getting at, nah, he's not physically imposing at all. Like, no.
Okay, let me ask you a different question, right? Do you think it's possible that because he's white, that there's certain depths of the culture that he was just not going to get anyway? Right, which would probably make him at a deficit to a certain extent in regards to him having to deal with his wife, who is not only a cultural icon, but in like the biggest cultural moment. Right? Is that fair or no?
That's fair.
That's fair, yeah.
But jealousy is not a cultural thing. So him being jealous, or him being jealous of the attention that she's giving to this ex that she's supposed to be over, which is that really is what that reaction would be. If you got a problem with your wife having an emotional reaction to an ex, if your reaction is negative, it's because you're jealous. Because if your reaction wasn't negative, you would then say, okay, baby, you got some trauma, let's work through it. And you wouldn't see it as being about you, you just see it as being about her.
Hold on,
right?
hold on. You're saying that because a guy would have a problem with his old lady having an emotional response to her ex, that's automatically makes him jealous.
I'm not saying because he has a problem. I'm saying if
Okay.
he has a negative reaction, it being a problem, negative reaction are different.
Okay, so how are you
You know
gonna
what I
parse out between negative reaction?
Because let's say let's
Because
say,
the reason I'm asking that is if the girl would have had to have done something first for him to recognize that, hey, she still feels about her ex, he is still then allowed to process that and have a negative reaction. Damn, you call that nigga for what? For real? Like, he's allowed to have that, right? Because that's a human experience. That doesn't automatically make him jealous. And if they have boundaries or the conversation around boundaries, I just hate when we act like he gotta automatically be the ugliest nigga in the world. He can genuinely go ahead.
We were going broad. So specifically, there are scenarios that won't. I'm saying broadly speaking, when men are hypersensitive in this regard, like for instance, my first marriage, my wife had a childhood love or whatever, and he had gone off to prison while they were like about to be dating or whatever. And then he got out of prison while we were either just married or like planning the wedding or something, right? And she's like, he wants to see me. And I was like, take a picture or whatever. That's what I could have thought. But I was like, this is something she got to deal with. And now I do think it's relevant to the story because your point is if you're married, you should have already put a lot of this stuff to bed. So I do get your point, Nick. And I don't know, as I think about the story now, maybe we weren't quite married then. Maybe we were just like at the heavy, we were actually planning the wedding and putting money on the wedding. But I wanted her to go check it. I wanted her to go see the dude. Put it to bed because I'm like, ain't no point having it hanging over like a what if or whatever. Go see him, see whatever it's gonna be, and then when you get back, we'll hash it out. I don't know why. Go ahead.
Because I want to. Y'all remember when I think Barack? Every time we see Barack, forget the Jennifer Aniston shit, right? I think there was like he was at some South Africa or something, and Michelle was sitting next to him, like. Barack can't even look at another girl in his vicinity, right? To a certain extent without people expecting Michelle to have like the little stone cold eye, right?
Forward.
Right? Right? Like, so what are we talking about here? Is this, you know what I'm saying? Like, because.
But that's not healthy. That's not the thing we should be doing.
I'm not saying that it's healthy. I'm talking about the reality of whether or not these older black men, I get things are changing, right? But were they so out of pocket to suggest what they did is what I'm trying to say, because we acting like as black men that we wouldn't have an issue if, we went out to an event and we saw our ex-girlfriend do anything or our current woman or wife or whatever do anything that would suggest that she's feeling some type of way about some ex-nigga. We'd feel some type of way about that.
Yes, we would.
Right? So it's not out of pocket for them, because how many people do y'all think that performance had nothing to do with Drake, as far as I'm talking about specifically from Serena?
I mean, she was Crip walking with some gusto.
But I think Drake was the sprinkles on the cake, on the cupcake. I don't think he was the cake. I don't think he was even the icing. He was sprinkles.
Okay, that's probably how she justified it to him, right? You know what I'm saying?
With your girl.
Right? But at the same
she's a cute sister, though. She's the cute one.
But what else? But what else was Alexis gonna say for real? Could he have been honest and been like, "Hey, man, yeah, I did have a problem with it." Like, y'all act like there isn't a trope about how bossy, certain black women can be. Like when we look at stereotypes a little bit, are y'all for real gonna act like y'all don't
probably
think
strong on
that if somebody were to ask y'all who wore the pants in that family, that you'd be like, you really think Serena's being demure to is you think Alexis could have been like, if she came to him and was like, "Hey babe, Kendrick asked me that, if I could do the whole Crip Walk thing." "Oh, word, babe, the thing from like the Wimbledon thing, that's what's up. Yeah, what song are you gonna do it to?" That little song that he talks about, the other guy, whatever. "Oh, the Drake song."
that little song about my ex. Nobody's heard
that one?
The one with the great.
Listen, I got to be honest. That really makes me uncomfortable, right? It just kind of gives like, how does that conversation go? You think she gonna be like, "Yeah, you're right, babe. I'm not gonna do that," so that makes you feel uncomfortable? Raise your hands if you thought the conversation was really gonna go like that.
She probably said,
It
we're going to do
could.
this the easy way or the hard way.
It could.
He saw her arguing with the line judge from one of her matches and was like, I want no parts
there was a career on the line then. There's a whole legacy on the line. She was arguing. So you may,
Yeah, I don't think he's wearing them.
Listen, I'm gonna land with this before I ask you guys y'all final thoughts on the completely toxic or toxic for fellas only edition. I'm gonna say this though. I'm really only mad at Alexis. Is that his name? Alexis? Is that right? Alexis?
I think it's Alexis. Yeah.
Alexis. I'm only really mad at him because he's lying. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you why he's lying. Because I think low key, he wanted her to do that because Drake had been shooting at him. You know what I'm saying? I think Drake had a couple of bars in one of his songs or whatever. And even as a husband, you'd feel some type of way, right? Like, damn, this nigga's sitting there talking about my girl or whatever, right? Or whatever. So I think low key, he enjoyed that shit. I think low key, he was like, yo, yes, bitch. Like, not like that, but yes, girl, get your lick back. Because in truth, there was nothing that he would probably ever have been able to do. Just like Serena, there was nothing they really could have done to get back at Drake. The only thing they could do was literally Crip Walk. You know what I'm saying? That would have been that was the best thing they could have done to get back at him because Drake was doing some fucked up shit towards them. And so I'm not mad if you say, you know what, hey, it was what it was. I ain't got no problems. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker was talking a lot of cash ass shit. So he ain't like us. And by us, I mean married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's lonely.
That was good.
That would have been a bar right
now. That would have been a bar. That would have been good. She should have used that.
But listen, the good
Post that on Reddit.
Yeah, the good thing about, being for fellas only, we get the fuck up out of here a little earlier.
At a decent time.
S&M's husband is not the only one going to be celebrating later on this evening.
I'm just gonna leave that right where that
is. Yeah, and it's not even my birthday.
Not even your birthday.
Not even your birthday.
But listen, any final thoughts, man, before we get up out of here, my guys? Jay, how'd you enjoy the fellas only conversation? Any last points you want to make before we call it an evening?
Oh man, I don't even have anything left on the floor. I think I gave it all here, man. It's great conversation. I kind of like this fellas only thing. Like, I know we have a lot going on, and it's gonna be hard to find time for anything extra. But I did kind of like it. You know what I mean? So we'll see how people talk.
Fun.
Yeah, if you people y'all watching, if you dig it, any segment, all segments, whatever, comment. Let us know if y'all like this thing. We should keep it going. You know what I'm talking about? But I really enjoyed it, man. I wanted to spark my Goodwoods 3-4 times. That's how good it was going. But let me work. I'm working. Yes. But so y'all keep checking. Everybody's viewing. Thank y'all for sitting through it and riding out and tripping out with us or whatever. And we'll be here, man. We're gonna do some more off-season conversations, I think.
It's me. It's me.
Not just you. No. And if we didn't say it, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, comment, share. Yo, let's have a discussion, man. We're trying to get Black people talking to Black people on a regular basis about good stuff. You know what I'm talking about? So let's do it. That's it. I pass over to Devon.
Yeah, 5 stars on the for fellas only edition. I highly recommend. Give us a good Yelp review. No, man, I had a good time, man. It was great. A lot of laughs. We kept it moving. We managed our low estrogen levels. I think we did a pretty decent job of that. Got the topics going. And look, man, I think us encouraging Black men to handle our disagreements in a healthy way. I think that was positive. Handling your monogamous or non-monogamous situations, disclosing that, having those conversations, encouraging transparency. I think that was all good. And telling the guys, Stephen A. and them, look, man, stay out of married people business. We married over here. We doing grown people stuff. So I think that was an all right show. I think we did good. So I enjoyed it, Mr. Nick. I appreciate everything. And you guys, like I said, like, subscribe, follow, share it with everybody, grandma, aunties. And, we'll do some more for fellas only stuff if Nick lets us.
Yeah, well, I mean, S&M going to be back, next week, man. So hopefully, we'll get S&M back in the building. I did forget one story, though. So you guys, I think, did an excellent job of covering something. So for closing, I just want to speak to Anthony Edwards. And I know you guys are probably going to agree with what I have to say, right? So in closing, because I think for fellas only, we wanted to touch on certain topics that resonated. And so we did, you know what I mean? But I totally forgot about the Anthony Edwards story because for those who don't know, I think he's pregnant again. The latest baby mom also happens to be the baby mom of Lil Baby or whatever. So there's that conversation going on. But I want to say that Anthony Edwards is on like his 5th or 6th baby moms at this point in time. And the brother's only 23 years old, right?
Wow.
So I just want to say, man, to the fellas out there, right? I love seeing y'all young lions doing y'all thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love it. I mean, especially him as an athlete, as a basketball player. He's charismatic. He has a hell of a game. I mean, like, people compare him to Jordan, for God's sakes, right? But what they can't do when it came to Jordan didn't do all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jordan got married, had his kid in wedlock, and I guess a different generation. But fam, you're 23 years old. You know what I'm saying? I get you're enjoying yourself, but fellas, wrap it the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Get a vasectomy. Those cheeks are reversible. You're worth too much. You know what I'm saying? Too many people love you and support you to be moving out here. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, as older men, we got to do a better job of communicating to these young fellas. And so, again, my bad for not bringing it up. This would have certainly been a topic we can talk about, hopefully, maybe next week, because I do think that it's a lot.
Thing to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, don't be shooting your wad like Nick Cannon if your money's like Pistol Pete. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but bro, no. We're talking about Anthony Edwards here, right? So that's not this. This brother got a $300 million contract. He's going to be all right for the most part, right?
To your point. But everybody's not him.
Everybody else, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody's not him. So that's not yet. That's right.
Yeah, we got to talk about this.
We should.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to say, man, like, I get it. You know, we can have fun with some of these conversations, but you know, we got to reach back out to some of these young brothers, man. I hate to see them so lost. But with that being said, like they said, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. Don't forget the BLC store. We got merch, y'all. Don't forget the POV with S&M on the BLC Network's platform all over the place. And, of course, your boy got ridiculous and said nicely. And we got some more content coming soon. So y'all stay tuned for that. With that being said, we about to get up out of here. S&M, we missed you, girl. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace, y'all.